Welcome, this is John Epps. I work with the Texas A&M Transportation Institute at Texas A&M University.
And I'm Dennis Berryhill, the statewide seal coat coordinator from the Maintenance Division.
Today we're going to provide a summary of one of several briefs. This is Seal Coat Brief 20-02. It's titled Streaking Identification and Solutions. These briefs can be found on these two websites that you see here. One is a TxDOT employee-only website, and the other is available from the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association, and all users can have access to the Seal Coat briefs through this. Accompanying the Seal Coat briefs are PowerPoint presentations that you can use and go through at your leisure. Also, you'll see the video recordings from today that you will be looking at, and the PowerPoints that you'll be viewing today as part of this particular presentation. The topic today, again, is on streaking, one form of distress in a seal coat that you see on this slide here. And the importance of this streaking is going to be talked about by Dennis in the next several minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Epps. So why is it important to have uniform distribution of our asphalt binder? Well, one, you can have low asphalt shot rates, which is going to lead to rock loss and the ability or the lack of the ability to seal against entry of air and water. You could also have a high asphalt shot rate, which is going to lead to flushing and bleeding and loss of friction, as well as a bad appearance. So we can have an ununiform or a uniform asphalt binder distribution, both longitudinally and transverse. Something we need to mention though, sometimes we have an intended ununiform asphalt binder distribution, as in the case of the transverse variable rate. By this, what I mean as intended is we actually want to put smaller nozzles in the wheel paths or covering the area of the wheel paths, so we shoot a lower rate in the wheel paths and a higher rate between and outside. So controlling distribution rate. How are we going to do that? First, pre-construction, we have equipment checklists. We're going to check our distributors. We're going to check the bars, check the nozzles, things of that nature. We also have calibration of equipment. We have tank calibrations as well as bar calibrations with individual nozzle calibrations. During construction, we're going to use visual inspection. This is the importance of our inspectors. We need to be out of our vehicles looking at these distributors as they're making their shots. And we need to be very accurate in determining our shot rates. We need to make sure we're getting accurate straps and making accurate calculations so that we can see if we have a variation in these shot rates. This is an example of a distributor bar calibration of individual nozzles. So a description of streaking, we're going to go to Dr. John Epps and he's going to give this to us. Doctor?
Streaking shows up on a number of projects and can be avoided by the things that we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes here. It appears as longitudinal stripes about 3 to 6 inches apart. And these are some examples that we see of longitudinal stripes in the pavements that you see out there in the field. And again, we can prevent these. We can have streaking that will occur during construction. That is, you can see it during the construction process itself. And this occurs like this. This happens to be a little bit of a cold spray application in this particular case. Or the streaking will show up after construction is over. There'll be no evidence of streaking occurring during the construction process itself, but it'll show up later in the life of the pavement, as exemplified here in this particular slide. Streaking has other names. We call it cornrows in some areas of the state, stripes, tiger stripes, cotton rows, grain drilling, and there are probably a few other names that we have not listed here as well. We're going to talk about the causes of streaking now, and Dennis will pick up on those.
Thank you, Dr. Epps. So some of the causes of streaking could be the old seal coat surface has streaking and it just shows or bleeds through. This is very hard to correct. Sometimes you can correct this by going with a grade 3 aggregate and shooting a little more asphalt. Most of the time this is still going to show through. It takes several coats or layers to take care of this. Also, we have an asphalt binder distribution not uniform in a transverse direction. We also, not always evident during spraying of asphalt binder during the construction. Some of the causes, spray bar height. You want to have a triple overlap. And if this is lower, then you're not going to get that triple overlap, and it's going to cause this streaking effect. One of the other things is spray bar pressure. If you have too low of a pressure, you're going to get streaking because you're not getting that full fan effect. Nozzle type and size. If you don't have the same type and size across the bar, unless it's intended because you're after a transverse variable rate, this could also give you the effects of streaking. Nozzle angle. The nozzle should be at a 30-degree angle, and if some of them are not or out of place, then you could have isolated areas of grain drilling or streaking. Nozzle wear is another cause of this, and we'll show you some pictures here in just a little bit to show you what I mean there. Another cause is asphalt binder characteristics, and what we mean by this is temperature. Cooler temperatures tend to cause this streaking. As mentioned before, spray bar height. We've checked several different distributors, different models, and the height to get a triple lap coverage is between 12 and 14 inches. So you need to check, you need to visually inspect this, and you need to measure. Make sure you're measuring from the tip of the nozzle to the ground, not the bottom of the bar. There's a few different ways that you can check this spray bar height. One, as you see here, we have a wooden lathe with a mark on it, and at the beginning of the shot, you can just walk up to the spray bar, you can hold it up there and have another inspector kind of get down at an angle and verify that it's at the right height. Here's another good way. If you notice on the back of this distributor, there's a chain hanging from either side of the bar. Well, this chain is at the right height or at the right length to make sure that this bar is at the right height to get a triple overlap. This is more than likely caused by spray bar height. The spray bar height was too low. This is a good picture of a proper spray bar height because you can tell that you have a triple overlap of your fans. Spray bar pressure. If you notice here, this spray bar is way out and you have a lot on one side here. A lot of times it takes a lot of pressure to push that asphalt all the way out to the end. If you'll notice on the very end of that spray bar, the fan is not as full as what it is towards the edge of the truck there. So the last foot or so may have streaking. Nozzle type and size. Like I said before, you want to make sure that you have the same type nozzle and the same size across the spray bar unless you're actually trying to get a transverse variable rate. You still want the same type, but the size will be smaller over the wheel paths. Nozzle angle. All of these distributors come with this wrench specifically designed. When you put it on that nozzle and you touch the handle to the nozzle next to it, it will automatically be lined up at a 30-degree angle. Here's a picture of some nozzle angles that are not quite right. As you can see, you're going to have some isolated locations across this bar that you will have some longitudinal streaking. Nozzle wear. If you will look at these two, it may be a little hard to tell, but the nozzle on the left is a year old. The nozzle on the right is brand new. As you can obviously see, there's some very significant wear in just 1 year's use. Well, what that's going to do is the one on the right, the new nozzle, is going to have a much crisper fan to it. The one on the left it's not going to be as crisp, it's not going to be as uniform. This could cause you some streaking. And asphalt binder characteristics, and what we're talking about here is temperature. As the asphalt gets cooler, it's harder to pump, it's harder to spray, and the fans will not be full like they're supposed to be, and you will end up with streaking. So make sure that you're checking the asphalt temperatures and make sure it's within the spec. So prevention. Can we prevent streaking? Yes, streaking can be avoided. So how can it be avoided? Mainly through inspection. We got a checklist here. Check your bar height, your spray bar pressures, and as an inspector, how do you inspect that spray bar pressure? Well, one, you need to put that on the contractor, make sure he's cleaning his filters, but you can visually inspect the asphalt pumps. If you see asphalt dripping from these pumps, you need to get with your contractor and have him look into this for you. Check your nozzle type and size. You can visually check the nozzle angles and make sure that they're correct. Nozzle wear. Ask the contractor when the last time he replaced his nozzles. If it's more than a year, you might want to suggest that he replaces them. Temperature. Check each distributor load of asphalt and make sure that we have the proper temperature. And if we don't, you need to instruct the contractor to heat the asphalt. So I want to thank you for watching this. Hopefully we give you some tools to help provide you with a higher quality seal coat program. And again, I want to thank you, and please be safe.